Hello, I'm Chandra Emerson, and I'm going to talk to you today about paper quilling basics. I teach at South Oldham High School. I teach an arts and humanities class with students who are not in general art yet. They maybe haven't taken an art class in a long time. Um, but my arts and humanities class is very hands-on art projects, and I've had a lot of success with paper quilling. So I want to share that with you today. First of all, I just want to show you some things. This is one of mine that I've done with paper quilling. It can be abstract like this or more detailed like the snowflake. And these are some students. This is another one that I'm working on. Have copied the picture on the black paper and then put some things on there. These are some student examples of paper quilling. Another one. And again, I teach 9th through 12th grade, and I've had some real success with this unit. I want to talk just really quickly about the the trying to get this about the history of paper quilling, and there's just a little thing here about it. Paper rolling, paper scrolling, filigree, all of that was, in the Renaissance. French and Italian nuns did it. We don't have a lot left because it was paper and it disintegrated, but something that if you wanted to talk about the history of it, there are some things on the internet and stuff that you can find. But it is, again, it's just something, it's also had a revival lately with the arts and crafts and the, things that you see on TikTok. All right. So who is quilling paper quilling for? Well, first of all, I want you to know too that it is a tedious and it does take some fine motor skills. Um, you might introduce basics to a whole class and then let them choose to continue. When I have done it with the entire class, there were some students who maybe struggled, who got real frustrated with it. And I don't know if you want to do that. I've had people say that they've done it with kindergartners, they're, first graders. Well, that's great if you can do that. I don't know if I can do that, teach that to them. The projects also do take a long time to finish. It's a tedious. Usually I do this at the end of the school year, and I know that they already have some of the skills that I want them to do, and they have time. Like, you use this as a final project. But once they get the coils, which I'm going to show you after that, it's totally fine. And it is a fairly easy thing that they can learn, but I'm just letting you know that some kids will struggle with it more than others. Some kids are going to latch onto it and they're going to love it, and some kids won't. What you need for this are paper strips. You can purchase multicolor strips, Amazon, and so forth. Blick does not have it, which is kind of interesting. And I do like the paper strips that you buy from Amazon or whatever. I think they're very helpful, but they can be expensive after, if you're trying to do a whole class or 140 kids or whatever. Or what I've done in the past is, if you just use a paper shredder, they cut the strips about 1/4 of an inch. And I just get a bunch of different color paper. And you do want to use copy paper, not construction paper. I have had people use construction paper in the past, but it doesn't coil as well. It doesn't bend. So you just want to use regular copy paper. If you're in a pinch, you can just do, like I said, white snowflakes or something. Or if you want to do the more colorful things, you can just get a whole bunch of different colored paper and then put them through the strips in a shredder. I usually separate my colors into baggies. I have an aide, and take them out in the hallway. They just make all these different shades of it. Now you can go smaller too. You can go to an 1/8 of an inch, but not on paper shredder. Supposedly, though, there are new paper shredders that they're making for paper quilling that you can change that, which is kind of cool, but I haven't gotten that before. The tools that you're going to need either toothpicks. It can be a very inexpensive project here, which is one of the reasons that I did it originally, is because, we always have paper and all these kinds of things, but you need toothpicks or tapestry needles. That's what I used originally. And my very first time I did that, I used tapestry needle or a paper quilling needle, which is this right here. I do recommend getting a few of these. Again, they're not that expensive, but you do have to get them on Amazon or someplace like that. Scissors, glue, a little, this kind of glue. You do not want to use glue stick. And tweezers are helpful. Not every kid's going to use them. Again, paper, just toothpicks work also as a rolling tool, but you can see that. Another thing that I find helpful is size charts, but you can use coins or like a nickel or a dime or something like that to make sure that the coils are all the same size. So I do think it's helpful, if you have some extra money, to just get like however many tables you have and have this at the table so that they can all share them. Now, I don't know if they can share during COVID, but you know how it is. But again, they can also use different things so that their coils are all the same size. For the lesson plan, this is what I do first. First, I show them how to coil, which I'm going to show you that in just a second. I use this paper right here. These are basically all the shapes they're going to need to know how to make, okay? And that's what's really cool about this project as well, is that it looks like when you show them paper quilling, they're like, oh, I could never do that. But whenever they start doing it, they feel really, accomplished at the end, because it's a fairly simple task. It's just a tedious and long one to put them all together. So what I do is I hand out this paper, and they have to make one of each one of these designs and put it in Google Classroom and show that to me. And I'm walking around and I'm helping them on that. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So for whenever I show them how to do this, I usually give them, like I said, this paper that they have to do. They have to do each one of these coils to show me that they know how to do it. But basically, this coil right here is the key to everything, because everything is made from these two right here, these tight kind of loose coils, because everything else comes from that. So what I do is you just take a strip of paper, and I'm going to use this for right now. A lot of kids, they just use, it's totally fine just to start and use with a toothpick. But I'm going to use this right now. This has a slot in it, and they're not real expensive. Another thing you can use is a tapestry needle, which I don't have one right here, but those work as well if you just have some laying around. Anything that you can slot in. Okay, so you take this and it has a little slot. You put that in there. Don't have too much of a lip. And the major thing is kids usually want to do it too tight. And it's just like when you're doing coils of clay. You just got to learn the right technique. Too tight, not too loose. So then you hold it in there and you relax. And there's a perfect coil. And then you take a little tiny dab of glue, just a little bit does it. I always usually put too much. So do they. See, that's probably even too much. And you close that off. And then, see from here, this, that's this one right there, which I'm trying to get that on there. All right. And then from there, this makes everything else. Okay. So I'm going to just put this over here for a second. And okay, see, look, that one did not come out right. All right. And that's okay. That's just this one isn't as good. It's a technique. You just got to keep doing it. All right, so let's make another one, just show you again. You just slip that in. And it's actually a fairly easy process once they learn how to coil. Now, they will, I can't do it. It's too hard. But you just keep practicing. And again, those that have the more trouble, I would have them use this needle because it does help a lot. But then again, like I said, I have trouble using the toothpick. Okay, but so then again, its major thing is just not to do it too tight. Okay, so you're going to relax that a little bit. You can go back. And to get them all the same size, you can use, like I said before, you can use like a nickel or a penny, a dime, whatever size you want them to be. Or you can use the tool, this tool right here. And if you have that, but again, if you don't, it's like I said, I've done them way times. Let's see, you can put that in there to see which size you need. And that way you have consistency on all of the pieces. And of course, that always makes it look better. But if you're doing it with kids, you can do it up here. I didn't put those in there, but you let it go. I'll show you how to use that right now. All right, another piece. Also, you want to not use your strips that are too long. Okay, so if you're buying the strips, like it works best with just a regular piece of paper that you put in the shredder, because that's just like a regular piece of paper. All right, so I'm going to make it again. I'm going to put it in here in the slot, and I'm going to roll. And yes, they always think that's so funny. Oh, Miss Emerson, you're rolling paper. What are you, So I think that's so funny. Okay, see, so if I wanted to make a tight coil for something, then I would glue it there. I could stick it in there. Okay, let's say I want to make it whatever size here. So then I put it down. I can also use my tweezers, which are right here. And you just got to be delicate with it too. Just let it go too much. All right, so it doesn't matter. But from these shapes make all the other shapes. All right, so like these on here. Okay, so say I've got this one. All right, all you got to do, I'm going to make this little eye here, and I'm going to pinch it down. See? I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to make the one that is, you can make like a kind of a paisley looking shape. See? So once they make that, see, they also think this is so hard, but once they get the paper quilling, everything else comes really easy to it. All right. So once they learn how to make these eye coils, these really that, then everything comes from that. So again, I just show them how to make. These are a lot of it's just being symmetrical. This you just do halves, and you usually use it, like I said, a shorter. Okay, so we take this in half, and then again, like I said, you may want to go back. I'm going to do it about to here, and let's see, and do it on this side and go back. And a lot of it's just by eye. And there you got a bee. And I could have cut that off so it'd be a little bit more. Oh, you can't see that. The bee. All right. See, so, and then you would do it inside. But that's how you do it. So, for whenever. All right. Now, after they learn the basics, they pick a pattern. Okay. And I let them do pretty much whatever they want to do. I've had students that pick from this book right here, and this actually has patterns in it. But then I've had students that make their own thing. And a lot of times they want to make their own thing, which is great. They design it and then they kind of decide, okay, how many coils am I going to need for each one? Then they make the coils. I give them baggies to keep their work in. Students often want to, everybody's different. Some will want to make all the coils first. And then some people want to make the coils and start gluing down because they like to see it as it progresses. But it doesn't really matter. It's up to them. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, you can contact me at Chandra.Emerson. Let's see if it's, well, you can see that. Emerson at oldham.kyschools.us. And I hope you will try to do some paper quilling. See you later.